Now let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Play ball!
The star boy for Chelsea, Palmer, turned up for Maresca. He gave a lovely, wonderful pass to Neto for Jackson to score the first goal, and he scored after the second half. He scored the goal after a pass from Lavia. Now they went on to win that game 2-1 against Newcastle. Okay, guys, if you look at that game, first half was even. In fact, the whole game was even, but Chelsea was clinical. They got the 2 goals and they won that game 2-1.
You know, for me, this season, Chelsea are a different animal in the sense that the way they play, the way they build up the game, the way they attack the opponents, the way they create chances for themselves, the way they finish it, you have to give Chelsea kudos. Chelsea are not one side this season that have struggled to score goals, because the goals come for Chelsea and they come in numbers, they come in 2s, they come in 3s, but today it came in 2s, and good win for Chelsea all round. I feel like Newcastle didn't test them enough. Newcastle didn't have enough opportunities created, and much less, take the ones that were given to them, and Chelsea went away with the win.
Okay, now, so if you look at that game generally, Chelsea when it comes to Stamford Bridge, they are cooking. They like scoring goals at Stamford Bridge, but they got 2 goals. They missed a couple of chances, even though Isak, there is a particular play Isak had to dribble the keeper in the second half, but he missed the goal. But generally, Chelsea and Maresca, they are cooking, even though last week they cooked them. Liverpool cooked them small, but they came back this week and they actually, I won't say they cooked Newcastle, but actually they won that game against Newcastle.
There was a tackle for a foul that wasn't given. It was supposed to be a yellow card, straight yellow card foul. It wasn't given against Isak. There was a tackle from, I think it was Gusto, and it wasn't given. There was another tackle on in the opposite, as in different tackles that wasn't given as a foul. Let's talk about it. You will say in second half now, if you say these tackles were given and those were straight yellow cards, it might have led to maybe 2 yellow cards, disciplinary action, losing 1 game. And those free kicks might have come up good for Newcastle, but good game for Chelsea, no doubt about that. Now let's talk about the fouls, those fouls now, and the way Chelsea play. They defend a lot. Now you've seen that the midfield is different. After the fouls, the midfield is quite different with the way they set up a midfield with the combination of Lavia and Caicedo. You see that there's a good opportunity of attackers freeing themselves, going forward and creating enough chances for themselves, and the midfielders can also join in the attack. But it tells a story when you're playing against a side that is sitting deep. Can this midfield combination work? It's a question.
I don't know about that, but I think Lavia did very well in this game. I think they always the competition about him. I think Caicedo have to play the full 90 minutes, but the competition is between him and Fernandes. He started this game and he gave good account of himself. Okay, let's talk about the first goal. Palmer took the ball in his own half. That pass he collected that ball for his own half. He turned and gave that lovely pass to Neto for Neto to skip back past his man and cross to Jackson to score that goal. Lovely pass from Palmer.
For me, Palmer is a I wouldn't say he's a driving force, but he is becoming a driving force. Last game, I feel one of the mistakes they made against Liverpool was that they gave him a minor role in the side, and it showed up in the way they played. But this time around, he had a major role in the sense that they were driving the balls through him and around a couple of other characters in the Chelsea side. He's always somebody that is going to come up big for you. Either he's getting on the score sheet or he's taking the runs that drive the team forward. And, kudos to Lavia too, because a lot of people rate him as, an underhanded midfielder, but he is one of those signings that may have gone under the radars and is delivering good football for Chelsea.
I think last season he was injured throughout last season, so he didn't actually play. He just got fit at the end of last season, but they didn't want to risk him. They allowed him to get full fitness, and you can see the how he played, and he gave that second assist for Palmer to score that goal. Okay, now so the equalizer, Isak got that goal. Isak is the main man for Newcastle. He got that goal, the cross from Hall, and he was just a tap-in though. It was a tap-in, that goal 1-1, but he missed a couple of chances in that game to actually win that game. Actually equalized for that game, but he didn't end.
He missed 2 sitters. Good game for him. I think Amiron is back now. The front line is cooking now. For Newcastle, the front line is beginning to cook. They have players.
They don't cook anything
they don't
now.
Cook for this one. When you're playing against 2 defensive midfielders and you're not really having, you see Tonali turn up for his side as well today. Tonali turned up, but when you have this kind of team, you try and bury your chances. Today, no Cook. He's just coming back from injury. I'm trying to manage him. He's just coming back from injury, and I was expecting my boy to start, Anthony Gordon, but instead they started a Hall. in place of him, and Hall went on to do what he did, got the assist on the
But
goal.
Hall played at left back though.
He got on the assist and did what he did throughout the game. But you should understand that he was a good side. Now he was trying to manage his injury, and those tackles that they kept tackling him could have gotten the Chelsea players a red card.
For me, we keep going back to the tackles, but then I want to say that Isak is this player that last season gave Newcastle multiple goals, over 15 goals in a season. He's a striker that can give you numbers, and I think the Hal needs to do better in protecting him and managing him so that he will be fit a lot more throughout the season. This game, he wasn't up to his best. He wasn't back to 100%, but irrespective of that, I think he's a player that can change games around for Newcastle. Unfortunately, today he was missing his second partner in crime, talking about Anthony Gordon, and Newcastle felt his absence.
Okay, if you look at Maresca is I like what he's doing with Chelsea. He's getting the win. Sometimes probably lost to Liverpool. You're not going to blame him for losing to Liverpool and Manchester City. But if you look at the other games he has played, he has actually managed his team well, especially in the Europa League and in the Premier League. Different teams, different plays. Now, if you look at this game now, the way he managed the game, what do you make of Maresca? Do you think that he's getting it very right with Chelsea's team now?
For me, I would say Maresca is getting everything right. There are a few flourishes that he needs to curtail, a few things he needs to fix. Against City is his first game, the biggest opponent in the league. He's come out to say that City and Arsenal are not in his league, and he's right in the sense that he's building up towards the point where he's going to be taking them on. Then against Liverpool, he matched Liverpool man for man, pace for pace for the first half. Okay, the only place they dropped off was where they kind of like let Liverpool hit them on the break and not as much as reply as often. We didn't see the intensity with the way they wanted to attack Liverpool, and then I feel personally that he showed Liverpool too much respect. But for this game, I've always said it, that coming into this game, Chelsea are going to win at the bridge. They are going to beat Newcastle, because for me, Newcastle, I wouldn't put them in the top 3 of clubs that City or Chelsea need to be worried about. They should be comfortably beating Newcastle, because Newcastle used to be a one-man, two-man team, and now they are not that anymore. You need to have a forest of players of high world-class quality to be able to become the likes that City are right now. They are not yet there, but on their day, they can beat any side. So I feel that he was able to get the win against Newcastle, and that he's on the trajectory to finish in the top 4 this season.
Okay, let's talk about who started. Neto started and he performed very well. He got an assist. Sancho did not play. What do you make of that tactics from Maresca? Do you think? I think Neto ended his start. Instead of him to introduce somebody, he actually introduced Modric. He didn't introduce Sancho. What do you make of that? Do you think it's a tactical something, or he probably doesn't? The same thing that Ten Hag have seen in Sancho, Maresca have seen it again. It's possible.
Look at it. It's about mentality, and in order to sharpen somebody's mentality, you need to tell him that they are competing for his position on the side. Now, minus what you said, let's not go there, because I know where you want just make bullets just hit them unnecessarily. Bullet no touch. I know before my hand, I go, yes, Sancho no good. I don't talk before people ignore me, no from my mouth. So look at it now. For you to prove that your side is good, for people to prove that you're better than the person starting ahead of you, you need to be on the bench and see that the person starting ahead of you is not as good as you are. You get? Now, they've played him in the first match he came in, 45 minutes, man of the match, all of that. People sang him praises. After that, what happened? The next game against them, gradually the form starts to dip. Gradually. Now, Pedro comes in, takes a drive on defenders, get on the assist, gets on the goals himself, and you ask yourself, why is Sancho starting ahead of him? It's as simple as that. Pedro is better, he's a better player, he's a better creator, he's a better finisher than Sancho anytime, any day. But because of the hype around who Sancho is, he would continue to receive that media hype, and nobody will remember to criticize him when he does nothing that is not good.
For me, I think Chelsea made a mistake in their signings this summer, because how do you go and cut and sign a Sancho, and you go and cut and sign a Pedro,
and Felix,
and you know too. You have Felix bringing them in. You also have Modric in the side, because you have a lot of excess baggages now. That's the way I'm going to call it. You have a lot of excess baggages, and you have multiple positions that are overcrowded. And when those multiple positions are overcrowded, it's easy for one bad performance, maybe one fan's reaction or something to knock somebody that could come into the side and project and progress in the side to go back to sitting on the bench. We saw it happened to Modric last season. Somebody else came in and took his shirt and it was, sidelined for bulk of the season. We are seeing it again happen with Sancho this season. Chelsea wanted to sign Neto. They also wanted to sign Sancho and they got these deals in. But they have not given these two players the time on the pitch they should be getting. So for me, if Sancho wasn't a panic buy, then Sancho should be a player you play all through till he hits his crescendo and is able to play week in, week out for Chelsea. If Neto was the person Maresca really wanted, then play Neto all through and then let either Mudryk or Sancho come in and play backup, because you have to set a situation in the club where there is even standards. The standard at Chelsea is you come in, you perform, you do this, hit these numbers, and you earn the shirt. And whenever you are not able to play up to that level, somebody else comes in.
Man just came into the club.
But if you sign him to play for that position and wear that shirt and play in that role as a starter, you are worsening the scenario with him not playing him.
Okay. Man just came into the club.
You're worsening the scenario with him not playing him, because one thing you don't want to do with players is you sign a player for a position, you keep the player on the bench, and then the player is on the bench wondering if he's ever going to get a shoe-in. And in that position, wondering whether he's going to get a shoe-in, a lot of things go wrong. So that's where I would say that they are getting it wrong. If Neto was signed in for the first team and not Sancho, then let Neto start. But if Sancho was the original plan for Chelsea and maybe he's had a bad game or one or two games, it's okay to give him a game off. It's okay to give him a game off for his mentality, but he should be starting.
I think you buy players for competition, even though now they bought 3 players, in quotes, 3 good players in one position. That is Neto, Sancho, and Modric, and the fans, even the coach, want 3 of them to perform at the same time, which is going to be hard. To give all of them proper game times.
Man just came into the club. He has to look for his players and he's experimenting. This is the first 10 games. He has to experiment. For the first 4 games, to see this person was starting. The next 3 or 4 games, Sancho was starting. What was his numbers in those games? You get, so he's experimenting to see who he starts better. When you come into a club, you don't just come and pick your lineup. You experiment at some point. You get, I understand the experimentation part. You get, but on the right, we're still talking about Sancho and all these names of players. On the left, on the right is just Noni Madueke.
He has his position. Nobody's touching his position now.
And at the same time, you have a Pedro who can play there. You get, but since this person is giving you numbers on the left, why not just risk it and let them continue to compete for who is going to start on the left? It's just the way it is. It's not just because of this person is good, you put this person on the bench. It puts a healthy competition on the side.
Okay, that game ended 2-1 for Chelsea. Jackson scoring the first goal, and the star boy Palmer scoring that second goal to give Maresca a 2-1 win against Newcastle. Let's see what Maresca, if he's going to be qualifying top 4, because his target is not actually to win the league. His target is to play Champions League next season. Let's hope and let's see if he's going to meet that target with Chelsea this season.